Hey, what's up guys? Tom from Positive Elite Diagnostics. Today we are working on a 2005 Volkswagen Passat with the 1.8 turbo engine. Customer complaint is the AC doesn't work. First things first, I will just start the engine up, let it run, and I'll just put an analog thermometer in the dash and you can see what the temperature is right now. Turn the AC on. This air is not cold. Around 80 degrees in the shop. And that is what we're reading on the dash. Alright guys, so the high side and low side ports are underneath the cowl panel. Don't lose your caps. Gauges are hooked up. I'm looking at the outside numbers. So it's roughly about 80 degrees in the shop, roughly about 80 psi in the system. I'm okay with that. There is a small gauge on the inside here, I think for temperature. So, but static pressure, 80 psi, about 80 degrees in the shop. So let's start it up, see what's happening, see what our compressor's doing. Really? Really? This is very impressive. Slight pressure drop, about 77 psi. Not really expecting to see that. You want to see your low side drop, high side rise. Roughly between maybe 150, 200 psi on the high side. 20 to 30 on the low side maybe. So right now, pressure's being the same, a static pressure of about 77, no compressor operation right now. So when you have a static pressure like this, there's no high side or low side, it's just a static pressure. Right off the bat, I can say it's not a low refrigerant charge based on the pressures and the temperature of the shop. Our compressor is not working, so we can take a visual right now. And this is a normal clutch on-off. And just take a visual at the compressor and see if the clutch is spinning. There's our compressor. No clutch engagement on this AC compressor, otherwise the center of that would be spinning. So a couple things we could have going on here. This is a normal power and ground clutch, on-off clutch, and I believe it gets power from the module. It's grounded all the time. And right here, I know that this is the connector that goes and sends power down to the clutch. So right here, we can just do a voltage measurement and see if we have power going down to the clutch. If we have power on this wire, then we need to go down to the compressor and make sure that we have power going to the clutch. and check the ground side. If that's the case, we have a bad compressor. We'll just take a simple voltage measurement using a regular voltmeter. I brought the test light along too. We could just take our test light, go to ground, touch on that wire. Test light should light. Negative lead to ground. And it might be easier if we just unplug this. This side goes to the compressor. This side should be power. And I'm not going to stuff this in there, I'm just touching. Just going to hold that there. So we have no voltage on that wire. Let's go with the test light. Make sure it works. Battery positive, it does work. Just touching that, not stuffing it in there. Test light does not light. No power going to this clutch. What we could do, just to see if the compressor works, I can take one lead, go to battery positive, move this lead over to my amp port and touch on this. The clutch should engage. If I can do that. So basically right now, with this test lead in the amperage port, this is now a jumper wire. So with the test light going to ground, I can make it light. Battery positive on this wire. If I jump this clutch should run, and it does. Let's see if I can show that to you. Move that over. You can actually see our amperage. So it does run, and there was about a 3 amp current draw from this clutch. All right, let me see if I can get you focused. I'm going to touch on this. That all. Touch on it. See that compressor now spinning. That off. Okay, so alright, so right now what we found, we have no power going to our clutch, and what we need to do is get a wiring diagram and see where that clutch gets its power from, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so here's our wiring diagram. This N25 right here is my AC compressor clutch. This leg goes to ground, so this is a power feed. It's a green and yellow wire, the one we did not have power on. And it comes from J314, which is the AC cutoff control module. So we need to find this module and check this power wire. If we have 12 volts there, we have an open in the circuit, and we need to find where the wire is damaged. If we don't, then we need to check inputs going to this J314. So first we need to find out where it lives. This is going to be our relay box underneath the dash, and right here, AC cutoff number 3, so it's going to be our third one in, and I'm going to have to probably pull part of the dash off so that we can access this. So let me do that. This just looks like a nightmare in here. Alright guys, so I had to pull this left panel down right here, just to give you a perspective. This is the steering wheel, and 2 10 millimeters. Pull this relay box down, and here is this right here, J384, or J384. This right here with this 384 number is our AC cutoff. It was in this spot, so I just pulled it out so that we'll have access to the back of the pins. And do a couple voltage measurements right here. Let me get the camera set up. Alright, so I'm going to start this thing. So I'm going to put my test light to ground, and you can see right here, this green and yellow wire is the wire that goes out to the clutch. Should have 12 volts on that, or my test light should light. It does not. Check it, make sure that it does. Okay, so you can see that the bulb does light. Touch on that pin. Nothing. So I'm not getting any voltage out of this module, this AC cutoff module. So that diagram. So that was this pin 8 right here. We're not getting any power. We should. There is a brown wire that is a ground. There is a black and blue wire that is a power. It comes from a fuse. We could check that. So black and blue. My black and blue wire. Test light lights. Got power on that one. Other ones, gonna need a voltmeter. Grab my meter. Make sure my ground is good. And it is 12 volts on the meter. Alright. And we have pin 3 is a brown wire, should be a ground. This here. 0.05 on my ground. I'm okay with that. Let's see what else is there. We're still good. Alright, let's see what else is on this. I have a pin that comes from the ECM. Pin 1, it is a black and gray. Black with gray. And 9 volts on that wire. This comes from the ECM. So, some type of input. I'm going to turn the AC off. Turn it back on. So that is some input from the ECM that is working. I'm not sure what that actually is. It just says it goes to J220 on the ECM. So we are getting a signal there. Blue and lilac goes to J285, which is the instrument cluster. Let's see what's on that one. Blue and lilac. So that voltage is jumping all over the place. I'm going to grab the scope. This might be some type of communication line. Alright. Hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. I'm just going to go back on this blue and lilac wire that goes to the instrument cluster. And voltage was jumping around. It looked like maybe it was a pulsed communications line, something like that. Let's go back on that. It was a blue and lilac, blue and purple, I should say. That's definitely what that is. Trigger. See some type of communication line. I have no idea what those signals mean, but that would definitely be some type of input. Shut the AC off. It's still there. Some type of communication line. With the cluster. Let's see what other. Next one we have is a black and green. And that goes to F129, which is our AC pressure switch. So we know there's pressure in the system. Let's just see what is on that. So black and green wire. Move this over. So that's with the AC on, AC off. So that would be our switch input, or pressure switch input. It looks like we have all the inputs to this relay or AC cutoff module. And honestly, what I want to do, see if we can jump it. Put power to this. Back. Our pin 2, which is our black and blue wire, that was a 12 volts from a fuse. We can take that wire and we'll use the meter again, put my leads in the amp probe, and we have that same 3 amps of current. We know the compressor turns on, and this needs a relay, so it's jumping. It's positive in the amperage probe. So I'm gonna take red lead, gonna go to power wire on the clutch, pin 8. If you guys can see that. Basically, I'm going on the same green and yellow wire, just right here at this relay cutoff module. And I'm going to take this negative lead, which is actually just a jumper wire, and touch on a power feed. And we should get 3 amps of current. That will tell us that this clutch is working. It's going to be the black and blue wire. I just heard the compressor. See if that'll stay. 3 amps of current. I feel this thing's starting to get ice cold. See our temperature starting to drop. baby on high. Roughly at about 2.8 amps of current. You can see that temperature starting to drop. This is what that, it's just like a smart relay. Not sending power out, so it looks like this is a faulty cutoff module. Let's let this run a bit, see what our pressure gauges are doing. So it is pretty hot and humid here. About 35 psi on the low side. Almost about 215 on the high. So, shot off. Short down there. See that our compressor is running. What our gauges should be looking like with a AC compressor that's operating. So high side about 215, low side about 35. It is hot, it's pretty humid in here. So still blowing pretty cold, feels nice. About 2.6 amps on this AC clutch. So I'm going to call it for this AC cutoff module. All these inputs, we had inputs from the ECM, we had an input from the switch position on the dash, from the AC pressure switch. We had good pressure in the system. We had a good ground. We had communication between the cluster and this module. So I'm going to call it, and hopefully I can get you an after shot. I don't have the part here, we'll need ordered. I do need an approval. But I'm feeling pretty confident. Right now my temp gauge is dropping close to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sure it'll get even lower. Raise this RPM a little bit. About 2 grand. So this AC is definitely blowing cold right now. It feels good. Almost up to 70 on the low side. Almost near 100 on the high side. And this is just going to drop back to that static pressure. Compressor clutch no longer running. So it needs an AC cutoff module. I'll see if I can get an after. If I can't, hopefully you guys take my word for it. All our inputs were good. Good pressure in the system. No power feed to the clutch due to a faulty AC control module, AC cutoff control module. Just stab myself with the armor. Hope you guys like this. Verified good pressure in the system. No power going to the AC clutch. We jumped it out at a connector. The clutch energized. Got a wiring diagram. Came back to AC cutoff relay. No power coming out of this relay. We had all inputs were good from the ECM, from the pressure switch input from the dash, good ground, good power feeds. Nothing coming out of this relay. So we jumped it at the relay. Compressor works. AC temp dropped to about 40 degrees in here. I'm sure it'll drop a little bit lower. It's actually pretty hot and humid in the shop. So I'll see if I can get you guys an after shot of this. If not, I'm pretty confident this is going to be the fix. So I'll let you guys know what happens here. If I can get an after, I will. If not, here's what it is. Also, we verified the high and low side pressures with it energized. Had about 215 on the high side and about 35 on the low side. That's about normal. What else? That's it, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.